Are there any public speakers? Mr. Bowden?
Good morning. Today's been quite a day. It's a day of change. There's a realization that what's gone on for the last 20, 30 years isn't going to go on anymore. For me personally, I must have talked to 20, 30, 40, 50 people today discussing how the world is changing. And for the most part, there's an understanding that what we've been doing needs to be, well, to put it nicely, updated. And so I look forward to working with the people at Bridge and Tunnel, had some discussions, and to see how the future will be implemented. I'm very encouraged by all of the things that happened today, and it's been a pleasure to be here. And I want to thank all those people who've explained and worked with me this morning that we've made change. They've made change, as difficult as it is. But there is a realization among many people here that change is coming, and they're working very hard to do it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bowden. Any question concerning the minutes? And may I have either corrections or a motion to adopt? Second? All those in favor? Contrary-minded? Done. Next issue, work plan. Any changes to the work plan?
No changes to the work plan.
No changes to the work plan. Report on operations.
Just before we start the formal agenda, I just want to briefly thank the Bridges and Tunnels facility workforce for the fantastic job they did keeping the facilities safe and operational during the storm on Tuesday and into Wednesday. The snow fighting equipment performed very well. We used about 1,900 tons of de-icer. We're still, of course, using it during this freeze-thaw cycle that happens in March. But all in all, it was a fantastic job by our facility staff, and as with all the workers for the MTA who keep the facilities open during these storms. They sacrifice time with their family to work here as part of their job. So thanks to all of them. And with that, I will move on to Pat Parisi, who will go through the report on operations.
The report on operations begins on page 20. Cashless tolling began at both the UL Cary Tunnel on January 4th and the Queens Midtown Tunnel on January 10th. Traffic was higher in January with 23.4 million crossings as compared with 22.2 million crossings in January 2016. This represents a 5.5% increase. A contributing factor for this increase was 10.1 inches of snow for this month as compared to 28.8 inches of snow in January 2016 from Winter Storm Jonas. EasyPass volume increased by 7% in January 2017 as compared to January 2016. A contributing factor for this increase was an aggressive marketing campaign for both cashless tolling and EasyPass. Crossings using cash and other payment methods declined 4% for the month. Passenger car travel was up 5.7%, and other vehicle travel increased by 3.6% from January 2016. Preliminary monthly traffic figures for February 2017 are 3.5% less than the same period last year, primarily due to the 2016 being a leap year, the one extra day. That ends the report on operations.
Any questions? Safety report.
The report on safety is illustrated on page 34, in which we continue to highlight our most important lagging and leading indicators shown on top and bottom of the tables. The report includes 12-month rolling averages and highlights the following performance lagging indicators. The customer collision rate for this 12-month reporting period increased from 5.96 to 7.69. Also, the rate for injury collision increased from 0.99 to 1.12. However, we experienced a rate reduction of 2.9 collisions per million vehicle crossings from a peak in October 2016 as compared to the end of January 2017. A prior November presentation underscored an action plan that included an increase in law enforcement presence for 6 accident-prone locations. 5 out of the 6 locations experienced a reduction in the number of collisions comparing the last 3-month period to third quarter 2016. Third quarter 2016 represented the peak number of total collisions. This relationship, collision reduction coupled with increased enforcement and engineering controls, supports our action plan. During the same period, the total number of reported employee accidents increased from 233 to 275 total cases, resulting in an increased lost time injury rate from 4.7 to 6.7. Approximately 40% of the aforementioned lost time injuries occurred from July through September 2016. January rate 2017, in comparison to the peak 2-quarter period from April to September 2016, has decreased approximately 35%. Furthermore, the last 4 months from October 2016 to January 2017, lost time injuries have decreased approximately 48% in comparison to the previous third quarter. Finally, the contractor lost time injury rate dropped from 2.08 to 1.84. Unless there are any comments, that ends my report.
Comment.
Yes, sir.
The number of collisions has dramatically increased from 5.96 to 7.69. The customer injuries have dramatically increased. The employee accident reports have dramatically increased. And employee lost time injuries have likewise increased. At the next meeting, I'd like to have as part of the report what you have done or are proposing to do to correct this. Is that in order?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
At what point will we be able to determine, I guess it depends, I mean, the Queens Midtown Tunnel is not a good usage at the moment because of the construction going on there. I know I went through it the other day. But at some point, we'll be able to determine whether cashless tolling, open roll, cashless, whatever we want to call it, is not only having an effect on speed, but whether it's also having an effect on safety. Do we assume that will be probably at different times for different bridges and tunnels because of the scheduling?
I think that's a fair statement. Yeah, I think you'll probably see a little better results possibly at the UK area because there's less traffic there. But,
right.
But we'll look at the numbers and that'll be part of what we report.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Our EasyPass market share in January was 87.5%. That's the highest share that we've ever had, 1.2 percentage points higher than the year before. It's the first time market share has ever exceeded 87%. The average market share on weekdays at the tunnels, where the aforementioned marketing efforts took place, the growth was around 2.5 percentage points. And 4 facilities, including the new tunnels, are now, again, above 90% on the average weekday. I also want to note that we will be going live with ORT at the Rockaways next month. The implementation date is April 30th. So it will be in place before the summer beach season when the traffic grows significantly. And we'll give you an update on where we are next month, just before April 30th. That concludes the EasyPass report.
The financial report for January begins on page 41. First is the report on toll revenue. Toll revenue in January was around $141 million, which is 4% or $5.5 million better than budget. Next is traffic. The traffic in January was up against budget by 5.5% or 1.2 million crossings. For preliminary February traffic and toll revenues, results are still being finalized, but preliminary numbers for February indicate that traffic is expected to be about 2.9% better than forecast. Pat reported on a year-to-year number. I'm reporting just for the month of February based on the budget. Preliminary toll revenue is $129.8 million, which is $2.4 million, or 1.9% better than our adopted budget. The report on expenses. Total expenses were $40.8 million in January, which is about $0.2 million, or 0.4% above budget. This is made up of labor and non-labor expenses. Our labor costs were lower by about $2.5 million, or 9.6%, primarily due to payroll vacancies. Non-labor costs were $2.6 million higher, primarily due to the timing of bond issuance costs. Our overtime is down 6.4% against budget, and that is about $200,000. And our support to mass transit was $78.2 million in January, which is $7.7 million, or 11% better than planned. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Any questions? Capital program.
The report on the capital program begins on page 56. In February, there were 19 commitments made with a total value of $39.2 million. On year-to-date, 35 commitments have been made with a total value of $47.8 million. This compares to a planned year-to-date amount of 26 commitments with a value of $72.4 million. Altogether, there are 113 planned commitments totaling $526.9 million in our annual plan for 2017. And to date, we have awarded approximately 9% of those commitments. The most significant commitments made were construction tasks at the Operations Training Center, open road tolling, and roadway deck replacement work, all at the RFK Bridge. There were no completions planned or made in February or year-to-date. There were 11 task closeouts in February for $18.1 million, and year-to-date there have been 21 task closeouts totaling $76.7 million. Unless there are any questions, that concludes the report.
If, as, and when necessary.
I'll go through that very quickly after the procurements. So if we can go with Gavin for the procurements.
Good afternoon. Procurements start on page 70. There are no non-competitive procurements or ratifications this month. There are 8 competitive procurement actions. 4 are new awards. 1 is a competitively solicited public work contract for design build services for the rehabilitation of skewbacks, viaduct piers, and the lower level north abutment at the Henry Hudson Bridge. That's in the negotiated amount of $82,180,000 for a 2-year, 9-month period. 3 are personal service contracts. 1 is the award of a biennial bridge inspection contracts to 4 separate firms to keep our assets in a state of good repair. These total $8,080,882. And 1 is the award to provide services for independent safety monitoring on a daily basis for ongoing bridge and tunnel construction projects. That's in the negotiated amount of $1,939,964. And 1 is for design services to develop a strategic plan to extend the service life of our suspension bridges in the negotiated amount of $1,543,754. There are 4 procurement modifications. 2 are personal service contracts, 1 for design support services during construction for the reconstruction of the upper and lower level toll plazas and southbound approach at the Henry Hudson Bridge, and the lighting replacement at the north and southbound parkways there. That's in the amount of $2,957,000. And 1 for design quality assurance services during construction for Project HH89, the retrofit of the skewbacks and approach concrete repairs. That's in the negotiated value of $1,528,424. There are 2 public work modifications, which include the installation of the open road tolling system and associated civil, structural, electrical, and demolition work at both the Bronx Whitestone and the Throgsneck bridges, in the negotiated amounts of $19,200,000 $311,211 at the Bronx Whitestone, and $18,149,300 at the Throgsneck Bridge. Total amount committed for these modifications is $41.946 million, and the total value of all procurements is $150,946,000. Unless there are any questions, these procurements are described in detail in the closed staff summaries.
Procurements. Moving. Any questions? Second. All those in favor? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
Mr. Chair, I'm abstaining from one contract.
What's that?
That's the AECOM procurement. But everything else I approve.
Thank you.
Anything else?
We have two information items. One is one you just mentioned, which is the open road tolling cost update. I want to briefly go through this. Joe and I, this is a follow-up to the questions that Commissioner Saul had at the board meeting last month. So just flipping through this presentation, the first page, the overview, just to remind everyone, as we discussed with the board last fall, we're implementing the ORT initiative via contract modifications to existing major construction contracts, and we're moving forward, taking these projects forward through an informal integrated project delivery framework, which we also discussed briefly with the board last October. So far, the results have been good. Just very quickly, the program delivery method that we're using, the integrated project delivery, it leverages existing partnering arrangements and takes account of the teamwork that's already in place that helps us move forward on an expedited basis. It allows us to move ahead with the fabricators, the contractors, the subcontractors, the toll system integrator, and in our case, TransCore, all with a seat at the table, all moving forward in unison, and also the key internal authority departments, particularly the maintenance and operations folks in the field, procurement, budget departments, also part of the dialogue. And this method is a key to helping us achieve ORT on the timeline that we're operating under, so customers are getting their benefits, the benefits of an ORT system much faster than they would have through any other means. We're also gaining efficiencies through these methods, through the modification process and through the integrated program delivery. Disruption to the ongoing major capital construction projects are minimized. The contractors we have in place basically have to coordinate with each other instead of coordinating with other contractors that we're putting out there. We're also seeing reduced general condition costs, meaning staging, vehicles, fencing, trash removal, things like that. They're all coming in lower through this process. We're able to share the constructability concerns with everyone at the same time, which is helping to minimize design growth. And as I said, the scheduling efficiencies are key. Design packages can move much faster, and the lead items for fabrication, et cetera, get resolved much earlier in the process than they would otherwise. And we're also seeing reduced construction management and force account costs through this process because staff is already on site for the core capital work, so that's helping reduce costs in both those areas. We have a strong program oversight program in place and a very strong change control process and an estimating oversight process, which Joe will quickly walk through. And then you'll see on page 8 so far, the results so far, the contracts modifications we've brought to the board.
Okay, so on slide 6, there's a diagram of a process flow for change control process. The process essentially is for the designer to provide a design package with quantities, and the resident engineering or CM firm would meet with the design firm, the V&T's facility engineer, contractor, and clarify the scope. We have an independent oversight consultant who oversees both the estimate and the contractor proposal. They basically evaluate both against Other similar work that's been done at likewise at similar facilities. They look at historical information, unit pricing from previous contracts, and basically refine the negotiating strategy before we meet with the contractors. And then we proceed with a negotiation to come up with a cost. On slide 7, we sort of elaborate a little bit on the functions of the program management consultant. They, as I said, they review the estimates, compare the pricing, and make sure that programmatically there's consistency across the various facilities on the prices that are negotiated. In some cases, there are actual production rates established for facilities that have gone ahead, so that we are negotiating with sort of real cost information from other contractors, and that gives us leverage in the negotiating process. On slide 8, you see the results, and basically the results are, in our view, they're positive so far. Overall negotiated prices in aggregate are 14% below the contractor's proposal, and are within 3% of the construction manager engineer's estimate. Just as a point of information, this results presented to date are just for the negotiations conducted as of about a week ago. We intend to continue to update the committee as we get further into the program.
Thank you. Any questions?
Understanding that this bottom line figure of $130 million might change, one package of costs that's been difficult for me to really understand is how much more the ORT program is costing, if at all. So we understand, based on your previous reports, that there's been a redistribution of some capital funds for projects that are not moving forward and is being applied to this program. Can you provide an estimate for how much more the ORT program, if at all, again, is costing?
We established, as you know, a budget of approximately $500 million for the ORT program, and at this point, given what the results we're seeing so far, we believe that will be sufficient. More information item, I'm sorry.
I guess the $130 million is what it's costing us at the moment.
These are the construction contracts we
Right.
brought to the board. It doesn't
Right.
include the soft costs and doesn't
Right.
include
Understand.
transcore, things like that.
I guess my question would be, assuming we did not do it this way, okay? And assuming we had no other work going on, and we decided tomorrow we're going to put in ORT, okay? I look at this cost as a difference between what it would have been and what it is. Because if these contractors were not already there, and work was not already going on, and we decided to go to ORT, what would it have cost us, in an estimate, to do the program? I assume that would be a lot more than $130 million.
Shaking doesn't
Yeah.
tell me.
No,
It's
Joe,
di-
I'm
it-
looking
it's
at Joe.
difficult to say.
I understand.
It's sort of a hypothetical, it's kind of difficult to say that. I mean, we could take a shot at trying to estimate it. The fact of the matter is there's always a lot of ongoing capital reconstruction work
Right.
of some sort going on at our facility. So, I'm not sure we could ever have a situation where just that program would be executed with no other work.
Well, but it would have, but the issue is not, the issue is these contractors, the ones who were doing this work for $130 million, were in many cases already on site doing something. Because that was the point,
That's right.
right, of these negotiations. So assuming for the moment they were not there, and you actually put out a bid, I'm not arguing right or wrong, a bid for the work,
Yes.
what would it have cost these contractors to do this work if they weren't already there. Now, the only way to really determine that to some degree is to look at what it may have cost other agencies in other places to do the same work. That may or may not be apples and apples, but at least it's some idea of what it would have cost from a straight line.
Yeah, okay, we can look at that.
Yeah,
But
because.
the other thing I would emphasize, though, Mitch, I don't know if it came across, but we also are saving on some of those soft costs.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so the CM, the force account,
Right.
even within the construction contract, we're getting savings from the
Right.
general
I mean,
conditions.
There's no question this is the right way to do it. And there's no question this was much more efficient, both from a time perspective and a cost perspective. To me, the issue is not whether this is the right way to do it. The issue is, what would it have cost us if we didn't do it this way and started from scratch in some aspect? Now, I understand that takes a lot of assumptions.
Yes.
But based upon other agencies, we should be able to come up with some idea of what it would have cost.
We'll try to get that. We'll try to see, the apples to apples concerns me a little
Understand.
bit, so we'll see if we can come up with a couple agencies that are similar, but we'll have to see what kind of system they're building also,
Right,
because that's all part of
understand.
it.
Okay, thank you.
One more information item, that's the customer satisfaction survey, which is in the committee book. Our 2016 survey was conducted last spring. Overall, 84% of our customers are satisfied with their travel across our facilities. That's 3 percentage points better than what we saw in 2015. Two facilities, the Bronx Whitestone and the Henry Hudson, had particularly significant increases. The Whitestone 10% from 79 to 89, the Henry Hudson 6% from 87 to 93. No bridge and tunnel facilities has statistically significant overall satisfaction decreases. Overall, by payment type, both Easy Pass and cash scored high, 83 and 86 respectively. 94% of all the Henry Hudson Bridge customers are satisfied with the cashless tolling travel experience, and 96% were satisfied with Easy Pass. So again, it's our highest rating of any category. And customer satisfaction with other key attributes, road signs, road conditions, service value, all increased by significant amounts, and nothing went down by a significant amount. In the book, as I said, the appendices contain the survey instruments as well as more detail on the attribute ratings. So if they had
Questions?
I find it, I'm trying to figure out the correct word. Very interesting, maybe that's 2 words, that our cash payers
that is amazing.
are more satisfied than
Yeah,
our Easy
you know,
Pass payers.
I
find that to be very
I think
interesting.
that might have happened once before, and I think part of it actually is the increased Easy Pass market share makes it easier for cash customers. There's
That may
shorter
be,
queues
right.
in the cash lanes because so many people switch to Easy Pass. So
Notwithstanding the fact that
that's
if you
our
pay
theory.
Easy Pass, you pay $2.50 less,
that's true.
okay?
Right.
And you get through quicker.
Right.
Our cash customers, maybe we should just go all to cash and
Yeah,
tell them this is what's now going to happen
Yeah.
in that regard.
Too late for that.
I find it very interesting.
I don't think that's the truth. Anybody else?
No, I understand.
Any questions on the motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second, done. Thank you very much.
Look at it, I said, that's impossible. It was impossible.